writing music professionally, which was sort of like a hidden talent that I had buried. And so I was leaning on that as well to get through it, because I was like, oh, this is so fun. Like, I finally get to tap into this musical side of myself that I love oh so much. You know, always love writing poetry, always love writing songs. And I was doing that and pursuing it professionally and in the studio. So I was around people who were doing drugs all the time. I was around all this stuff. I was around creativity and thought, oh, this makes me sort of like this neo soul vibe that I felt like I wore well, you know, but there was still something in me that felt off. And I remember even writing a song at the time where I was glorifying that I was free from religion and free and exploring and seeking truth and peace through other ways, seeking healing in this song that I wrote. And I remember, it's just powerful, I'll say, that I felt conviction. Like, I didn't know that's what I was feeling in the studio that day. But now knowing what conviction feels like, I felt conviction when I was recording it, because it was speaking to glorifying things like doing drugs and, you know, getting my chakras in alignment and all these things. And I remember almost hearing a thought that, like, God wouldn't want you to put that song out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so it's interesting too, because with that song, I remember I sent it to a family member, and I sent him 2 songs, and he told me I should put that song out first. But because I had that eerie feeling, I put out another song first, and I didn't put that one out. Anyway, all that to say, I was doing everything I could to distract myself, to get ready for the show coming out. I didn't know how they were going to portray me. So that was driving me nuts. And my husband, who wasn't my husband at the time, probably felt the brunt of that. But also just not having healthy coping mechanisms whatsoever. Far, 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 far from God at that time. And so the show comes out. The public reaction was crazy. The show was a mess, as we all know. A whole mess. And I don't know, I don't even know if the dust really settled per se, but I feel like maybe some months after, maybe going into 2024, I started feeling like I didn't have a sense of direction at all. And I know that was God now, because I felt this overwhelming sense of just being lost. Like, I didn't have any type of wisdom. Like, I didn't know what I was really going to do, what I wanted to do with myself. Like, am I even supposed to be in this relationship? Am I supposed to be here in California? I just started feeling all out of whack. And I remember just feeling led to pray for the first time in forever. Didn't even really know how to pray. But I was sitting in the living room, and I just said, God, I've come to you in prayer many times before this. And I don't know if you've ever heard me. I don't know if, you know, I know I haven't lived my life right, but I feel lost, and I feel like I don't have any direction, any guidance. I don't want to keep living my life like this. I'm dependent on all these substances, and I'm living with this man. I don't even know if we're going to get married. We weren't talking about marriage, really. I just didn't know. I felt lost. And I remember just having this humble moment of prayer. And in the midst of even saying that prayer, I remember having this thought about my sorority that I was a part of. I didn't know why I was having that thought, but I did. I just kept praying. And then I just remember saying, okay, well, I prayed for the first time. That's weird.
That was fun.
So I go to bed that night, and this is the moment that changes my life forever. I go to bed that night, and in the middle of the night, I'm literally thrusted out of my sleep, like almost as if somebody grabbed me by my shirt and pulled me up. And I'm sitting in my bed. He's still asleep. My husband is still asleep. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm like in this moment where I'm hearing, you are in a covenant. You are in a covenant, and you need to come out of this covenant. I didn't even know what a covenant was. And so of course, that's my reactive thought and words. Like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what, and the voice goes on to say, throw away all of your sorority paraphernalia. You need to throw all this stuff away. Throw it all away.
Yeah.
Throw it away.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, like, I was like, throw it away. Like, it's 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then I remember just hearing now, like now. And it scooched me. Like, I felt it through my body. It was like thunder.
Yeah.
It was just like a room. Like,
yeah.
I don't even know how to explain it, but I'm sitting there. He wakes up, my now husband, he wakes up and he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I think I have to get out of my sorority. He can tell you. Like,
Yeah.
I said it right there in that moment. Like, I don't know. God is telling me that I need to get out of my sorority.
Yeah.
And so I get up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I throw all this stuff away. We had like a little trash chute outside of in our hallway in our apartment. And I go and I just start throwing everything away in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I get back in the bed and I'm like, okay, I did it. Like, now what, you know? And I go back to sleep. I wake up the next morning. I start researching sorority things and, you know, what a covenant is. And I watched a few videos and I was like, wow. So I sat with that for a bit. And I missed a very important piece. I think around maybe January, December, a very close friend of mine sent me a fast, a spiritual fast video by Tiffany Montgomery. I think a lot of people are familiar with her and her Year of the Bride fast. Didn't know what a fast was. I think I opened that video from yours truly. I opened the video. I watched
She was
it.
yelling at you.
Girl, hollering, screaming. I love Tiffany Montgomery, by the way. She is a true woman of God. This is all jokes. But she was hollering.
Right.
And it was almost like, in a way, I felt so condemned and shamed, even though I know that's not what her intention was.
Right.
But at the time, I was so far from God that when she got to the topic of abortion, I think she may have briefly mentioned fraternity sororities, but hadn't gone into depth about it. But she started going into depth first about the abortion and Molech and what that really means in the spirit.
Yeah.
And I turned the video off.
Yeah.
Because that was something that I had buried.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go back there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I turned it off and I never thought twice about it.
Right.
But the day after I have this encounter with God to tell me to go get rid of this stuff, throw it away now. You need to get out now. I remember having the thought of like, I should go watch this fast. I should do. And I think I start reaching out to people like you at this point. I start looking into how to renounce. And I follow through with that process. Yeah. And shortly after following through with renouncing, I did my very first spiritual fast.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Speak to that, because I know, listen, fasts, they're no jokes. So kind of speak to how, like, your first fast was. What did you experience and things like that?
You know, it's so interesting to think back to it now, because God has taken me through so much in the spirit now that I don't even understand now why I was so fearful of the things I was going through. Yeah. But anyway, that's what you just got to go through that. You know, you got to walk through that part. But the fast was very powerful. Yeah. And I thank you to this day for sending that to me and your obedience to God and doing that. But I didn't know what I was getting myself into doing that. I really don't. I didn't have a clue. But, you know, I never done a fast ever, not even just for like health reasons. I never fasted. Right. So I was more worried about, dang, I'm not going to be eating for majority of the day. Right. But I also loved how with that fast, there were sermons sort of attached, teachings attached. And so I had something to sort of start my day off with. And I was learning so much. It was the first time I had ever really dug deep into scripture like that. Yeah. I was having a lot of dreams, experiencing a lot of spiritual attacks, being held down, being yanked, hit, pulled on my head, feet. Like there was a night, my husband, not my husband at the time, but my now husband had to pray over me. He said he saw me almost like manifesting out of my sleep. And he was like, I didn't know what happened, what was happening. I just started praying. Because, you know, he's not really at the point yet where he's surrendering to God. He's just sort of witnessing my journey, you know, and I'm sure I'm just so grateful to God, because I didn't know whether or not he and I were even going to stay together. I didn't know that because at the time I was just so focused on, I've done this thing. I've joined this covenant that isn't of God. I was learning about all the symbolism and the altar that you got to get down. You know, you're bowing to an altar and there's a God associated with this. And I was still trying to process that, and I was grieving, and I was sad, and I was disappointed, and I wasn't worried about the relationship anymore. I remember like cold turkey telling him like, we're not gonna have sex anymore. I'm not doing it. I can't do it. And he didn't really say much except for okay. Probably was like, she not serious, but you know, like, she not serious. But like, I just remember just making all of these very big and rash, but yet spiritually in alignment with God level decisions.
Girl, I will never forget one time you told me, you was like, listen, if God tell me today that Tyler's not my husband, I'm leaving. I was like, oh, this girl's serious.
Because you knew how much I love Tyler.
Right. I was like, oh, Lord, you got this girl for real. Okay.
And I think I had the same conversation with him. I was like, look, bro, this is what it is.
Right,
okay? I don't know what you gonna do, but this is what I'm doing.
Right.
You know, like I was just like, I've seen too much at this point. Especially like midway through that fast.
Right.
I'm having these dreams where it's like, you know, women that are in the sorority are like holding on to me and demonic attacks and being chased by. I mean, it was just so much God was showing me that like affirm, like you did what I wanted you to do. This is what has been holding you bound. This is why you've been suicidal. This is why you've been plagued with these things, because you've been controlled by these spirits. And it wasn't just the sorority affiliated spirit. It was a lot of different things that he was showing me. Lust and I mean so many things in those dreams. And I just remember being like almost fearful, but God really did take me through a wilderness and pruning season. He pruned so much out of my life at that time. Friendships, habits. I multiple attempts to quit smoking. I tried to quit smoking weed multiple times and failed every time. I never went longer than 2 weeks without it, doing it on my own accord and my own strength. Girl, I remember in one night I was lighting up a blunt and I said, Lord, I ain't gonna lie to you. I like smoking and I like being high. I really like it. I like the way it feels. So if you don't want me to do this anymore, you're going to have to make me not like this. When I tell you I was tormented by all kinds of voices and like I feel like spirits were just like all around me in that apartment. I was home alone because at the time Ty was working nights and evenings, so I was there by myself and I was just so scared. And I just remember saying, oh my gosh, okay, Lord, I hear you, please make this stop, this stop. I won't do it again. I threw it all away. I threw it all away, never looked back. Never had the urge really to do it. I remember like just being amongst it again for maybe, it probably been like 3 months had passed by this point, and I was around smoking and just like really working hard to not inhale or not, just really wanting to stay committed to being obedient. And that was so different for me because before I was willingly rebellious. I you know, I always said God didn't want me because I liked having sex. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to live how I wanted to live. But for the first time, it was like I wanted to be obedient. And no one was making me. My parents weren't making me read the Bible. No one was making me want to do this. It was just, I wanted to do it because I loved God. And I was grateful that he chose to show me what I was truly a part of and that I needed to come out.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. So just talk about how God's love has transformed you into, now we're in 2025, you know, into the woman that you are today, from when you encountered him in 2024 and then just the transformation that he's taken you through and who you are today.
You know, after the pruning and wilderness season, and and getting to a place where also my now husband gave his life to God and we're seeking him together. We get into premarital counseling, we get engaged, and that was very beautiful. But also with that came some warfare as well, because of course the enemy hates marriage and does not want you to get to a place where, one, you're preparing for it in an obedient way to the Lord and his word, not fornicating, not doing these things, not allowing plagues and strongholds from your past and your generational bloodline to impact your life. You're really trying to give that stuff to God and say, God, help me. God, deliver me. Lord, help me to understand your word and see things for what they truly are. And with that came a lot of insight, revelation, but there were struggles, because it was just like, once you see something from God, you can't unsee it. You can't unsee it. You can't unsee it. And so there was a lot of grief there, and almost like grief of who I once was, like a grief of being comfortable in the sin. If I'm being honest, being comfortable in that.
It is so much easier living in the world than it is living for God. Hello. So I get it.
It just, there is no comparison, because I feel like you struggle in the world, but you have all these people with you. Everybody's doing it. So that's different, because at least you're not the odd one out. I felt like I was going back to being the outcast again. And I was just like, okay, God, like, for you, I'll do it this time because I have you and I have your love. But I still felt that sometimes. And I was just like, dang, people don't really call me no more. People don't want to hang out with me no more. People don't. It was just different. It was just like, dang, how do I deal with this rejection? Because I'm being rejected, but it's for the Lord. And I know what I saw. I know what he showed me. I know what I've heard. And it's so crazy thinking about the fact that the moments in which he reached out to me before, when I was living in sin, wasn't even checking for him, wasn't truly surrendered, submitted, willingly rebellious. He was reaching his hand out to me and extending his hand out to me through the testimony of my coworker, through the moment where he slowed me down and made me sit down and read the Bible after I was nearly suicidal and wanted to take my own life. Like, he really took his time and pursued me almost in phases. Like, I'm gonna drop something here, I'm gonna drop something there, leave this show because this isn't your husband, there's somebody else. Like, and I just never really took the time to like really lean into that and say, God, who are you? Like, what are you truly trying to do in my life? Like, what is your will for my life? And so that's what all of this, all that had transpired as far as giving my life to him, that's what that season of my life truly was about, was seeking him on who he is and who am I in you? Who am I as your daughter? What was your intention for my life truly? Before I took the reins and took the wheel and said, this is what I want. What is it that you actually wanted for me? And what is your will for my life?